What did I tell you? I told you that Carmelo Anthony was not going to get a new trial. I told you there was no way in heck, and that even if he had a possible good chance, it was still only 1 in 100. I told you that his chances were way less than 1%. And I was right. And the reason I was right is because I knew. And that's why I told the clowns who showed up in their ridiculous regalia celebrating that Carmelo got a hearing. I think I had that somewhere down here I can pull up. Anyways, they were pumping their fists, wearing all purple, celebrating that he got a hearing and that Judge Roach was agreed to recuse himself. It didn't matter. There was nothing. Well, I'll get into it more in a second. But the other thing is WNBA. Breaking news this evening. Ennis Kanter freedom has been denied by the WNBA with no rationale. You do not want to miss all that. Plus, do you remember Marco Hunter Lopez, a young man who's a star, who was thrust on the national spotlight, who stood up to the Wiley East High School and Wiley ISD in Dallas-Fort Worth? They wouldn't let him get a TPUSA Turning Point Club that he's now the president of. He exposed the professional adult Islamic proselytizers passing out Qurans, hijabs, and Sharia pamphlets. Well, a case just like Marco's in Dallas-Fort Worth has just happened in Indianapolis, where I'm filling in last week. I do a lot of fill-ins for them. And it is remarkable, and you must see this. It's that good. Telerico, a new poll in on Telerico and Paxton. I have so much. A kinkajou, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, a beautiful, sweet little kinkajou burned up from being, out in Texas, in suburban Texas. Officers scooped him up. You'll see a video of this, a picture of this sweetheart, and so much more coming up. And, James Telerico, I've told you, the response properly of him for Christians is not to be angry, but the truth is it's an abomination. He preaches an abomination, and it's completely bared out simply and nakedly in what he just said that just came out today. All that's coming up next, but first, this show is brought to you by IRSprob.com. That's IRSPROB.com, helping good people with IRS problems. Specializing in IRS controversy, IRS audits, and tax planning strategies. I just had a nice meeting with Randy Martin today. He's been my CPA for 10 years. We'll talk about that later. WNBA, let's start out with that. Here is Ennis Kanter freedom at the Chicago Sky game, showing up and simply having the definition of a woman, an adult human female, noun.
6-point basketball game.
And look at this lunatic yelling at him in the stands. Cloud is her name. Her last name is Cloud. And here's the thing on her. She literally, well, I'll play the rest.
Chicago staying in it. Natasha Cloud. And right before the break, this was the scene inside Wintrust Arena after Natasha Cloud got that bucket. She wanted her voice heard. We have talked about the conversations surrounding the W. That is Ennis Kanter in the building today. And he has voiced how he's felt about the situation. Natasha Cloud voicing her opinion as well. Kanter was just escorted out.
Natasha Cloud violated some very serious WNBA rules, which beget a heavy fine. Hasn't happened yet to my knowledge. Probably won't happen. It literally is, according to like OpenAI, whatever you do, you query the WNBA rules with AI to see what's lawful, what's allowed, what's not under WNBA rules. You are severely discouraged and punished. You're punished with a heavy fine if you go after people in the stands. You can't, and if you swear at them, that's also a serious thing. So not only did she go at Ennis Kanter freedom, he wasn't taunting her. All he did was clap, according to him. All he did was clap when Sophie Cunningham scored. She, 6 points later, she's focusing on this guy in the stands and not in the game, and she attacks him and goes at him and swears at him, violating WNBA rules. He did not taunt her. He didn't look at her. He said nothing. She was paying attention to him instead of the game, and that's why they lost. The Chicago Sky lost to the Indiana Fever last night by, I think, 23 points. And guess what else? They were knocked out of the playoffs. So the focus is on DEI and going after a man in the stands with a definition of a woman on his shirt, not on winning. So she won the DEI game, but she lost the game, and they lost the season. Way to go. You did it. You got DEI points. Great job. That's what DEI gets you, a big fat loss. WNBA, this just came out in the past hour or so. WNBA reportedly says Ennis Kanter Freedom and Royce White are ineligible, but will not explain why. This from Fox News and their Outkick outlet. WNBA has apparently decided Ennis Kanter Freedom and Royce White aren't eligible to play in the league. It needs to say on the record, they say, how it reached that decision. Front Office Sports reported today that unnamed league sources say that Freedom and White, two former NBA players who have declared for the WNBA draft, are ineligible. Sources also called their declarations, quote, simply publicity stunts. How do they know? I think these guys would play, or these girls, whatever you want to say, you know. They said the league would not give oxygen to efforts intended to mock it or demean others. And so the question from Outkick columnist today is, what makes these guys ineligible? They have not defined the word women. They cannot include language about gender identity. They have not included language about gender identity or sex assigned at birth. They need to explain. And by the way, I think that Ennis Kanter Freedom and Royce White have a good grounds to sue. If they're intending to declare, if they're saying they're transgender, then they have a right to do it unless they define things, and they haven't defined things. So I think they should still go forward. And by the way, the shirt that he wore there, you can see it here again.
6-point basketball.
All right. The shirt that he wore there, I think that the fact that they threw him out is even more reason for folks like you and me to show up and wear those shirts. And I really have a distinct honor and privilege of filling in, like I said, a lot this summer, including this week, for WIBC in Indianapolis. It's the big talk station there. And, I mean, the Fever are obviously insanely beloved, and they're beloved by America because of Sophie Cunningham and Caitlin Clark, but mostly because of Sophie Cunningham, because she has a big pair of ovaries, I guess in this case, but she got a big pair, and she's standing up for girls and women. And I played a video of you the other day or last week from these sweet little girls that are crying and shaking when they meet Sophie and get her autographs. It's like meeting the Beatles. It's the most sweetest thing in the world. So I say continue to go. And the WNBA is continuing to mock itself. Carmelo Anthony, I told you that he was not going to win. I put out a short post, a video post that got like 100,000 views and hundreds of shares and thousands of likes, telling you that it was not going to happen. And then afterward telling you, I told you it wasn't going to happen. Judges are loath, very loath, I told you on Friday's podcast, to ever overturn what a jury and a judge had done, had already adjudicated and decided. They're very loath to do that unless it was some kind of a procedural thing. For example, was it the Roy Murdoch, Murdoch case, where he's accused of murdering his wife and all these other things. There was a woman within the courtroom there, within the proceedings, that was a clerk or whatever, and she did some things that were totally worthy of getting a retrial. That's the kind of thing. None of that happened with Carmelo. The gentleman's agreement is, according to a former chief prosecutor in Collin County, very common. Very common. All right? So, Carmelo, here's what the thing is. And if you are a Dallas-Fort Worth person, you know, and even this is a national massive story with Amber Geiger, former Dallas police officer, comes home from a 12-hour day. They work her and the Dallas police officers to death. She's a young woman, and she's got her 40 or 50 pounds of gear she's carrying. She's not in her bulletproof vest anymore. She's carrying her gear. She's going into her door, and there is a man and an odor of marijuana, because I guess he was smoking in there, and she thinks it's her apartment. It's a mistake of fact, which is Texas law. In fact, the black Texas Ranger who led the investigation said she's guilty of nothing. She shouldn't be charged with anything. She did nothing wrong. It's a mistake of fact. But of course, it was so rigged against her. They said the judge said we're not going to let you testify in court. That's not going to be said in front of the jury. It's unbelievable. Because all the different apartments were labeled, there were no labeling differences. The floors weren't labeled. The parking wasn't labeled. People commonly went out and took their dog out for a walk, came back and went into the wrong apartment. And they go into their room and they see that there's a person on their table. And they're like, what is this? Oh my gosh, I'm in the wrong room. Happened all the time. The doors, the strike plates on these new doors that lock themselves, total BS. When it's humid out, they don't lock. The Texas Ranger investigation showed. Anyways, Amber Geiger was wrongfully convicted. Amber Geiger should never have been convicted, and she went to her appeal a year or two later, and she didn't get it. She went to go get her appeal again a year or two later in prison. She didn't get it, and she's not getting it. She's not getting it. Carmelo Anthony, in a year or two, will get his chance to go in front of an appeals court, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, I believe, in Dallas, and Texas Circuit Court of Appeals in Dallas, and he will not get an appeal. He will not get an appeal. He is going to rot in prison, and he better thank God. Since he can't lick the blood off a knife, although he might be able to lick the blood off a shiv in prison, he better thank God, kiss the blade, kiss the ground in the prison, but don't bend over, Carmelo. Don't drop the soap. He better thank God he only got 35 years because he should have gotten frickin' life. Because he's a sick, wicked, cold-blooded murderer. And what he said and did obviously was relevant into his state of mind and who he was. But Austin Metcalf and him both had horrible things that had happened, they'd done or had been, accused of doing or been convicted of doing or admitted to doing, whatever. It didn't matter. All that matters to this very moment is what happened under that tent. Carmelo Anthony is a murderer, and he's going to be in jail for at least 17 years, and now he can know what it's really like to be with his thug thizzle and killing people and talking about it and loving it. He can be with his great friends now. Again, Carmelo, just don't drop the soap. Fox 4 saying, here's what's next after the new motion for the trial was denied. I love it. I told you those clowns that were pumping their fist in all purple when the judge said, I'll step down to let the recuse himself, Judge Roach. I told you that was their one day to celebrate. That was all they were going to get. And so there you go. Enjoy your I told them then on that day, enjoy your 24 hours or your 2 days. Enjoy it. Yeah, it's all you're going to get. You little tiny little crumb, a crumlet, a little morsel. Free Carmelo! So the next thing, it'll now go through the Fifth Court of Appeals in Dallas, but the process could delay an appeals hearing until 2027. Yeah, he ain't going anywhere, and he's going to stay in there for a long time. He's not going to ever get out, other than what Texas allows if he behaves decently. And Jeff Metcalf, and I'm going to reach out to him because he's going to come on. He just wanted to wait till this thing was done. So I'll reach out to him actually after we finish up the podcast. Have him on this week or next week, and it'll be in depth. And he'll be at every hearing, he said, Jeff Metcalf, and to make sure that they are in front of that Board of Appeals to say, don't ever let him out, don't ever let him out, don't ever let him. And he said, if I will record a video so if I die, that video can be played every time Carmelo tries to get out. With time served or, with good behavior or whatever. And I agree. In just a moment, let's do one more. Democrat candidate. Remember I told you about this lady with a massively long rap sheet arrested for fleeing and felony, like fleeing of a law enforcement officers trying to pull her over. She sped off, according to Illinois State Patrol. She had cocaine in a straw with cocaine residue in it and was convicted of that and all sorts of nasty, nasty things. She was charged with 2 Class 4 felonies, aggravated fleeing from police, possession of a controlled substance, along with driving on a suspended license and speeding. She pleaded guilty to possession of a controlled substance. Oh, she's got all sorts of stuff, like tons of convictions with fighting, drunkenness, all sorts of things. She's running for a great Texas House Democrat in Collin County, and her name is Brittany Black. And now Texas Scorecard, who broke this story, they do a great job. She now says that she knows that she pleaded guilty to cocaine possession. She wants voters to know she pleaded guilty to cocaine possession and drunken driving, but Her cocaine was on a straw, not in a bag, and that is very important for you to know. She says apparently it's very important. Here she is, party girl, running for Democrat state rep in Collin County. Brittany Black, party girl. Okay, and then here she is with her mugshot. Let's see which. There you go. So I mean, party girl's not so happy there. Party girl's happy there, and party girl's running again for Texas state rep in Collin County. It's just the best story ever. It goes on and on. 2012 drunken driving case. She also pleaded guilty after failing field sobriety testing and registered blood alcohol level concentration of 0.21. That's almost 3 times the legal limit. They had an open container of whiskey in her vehicle, police say. She doesn't dispute she pleaded guilty to DUI or DWI. It was incorrect, she said, to describe the outcome as a DUI conviction because she received court supervision, blah, 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 blah. On and on and on. It's quite a ride. I love this chick. She's great. Just call her Party Girl. That's who she is right there. You can vote for her in November to be your state representative if you want a party girl with lots of convictions and serious things going on there. Great chick, huh? Good luck with that. All right. Let me do this. Coming up next, Telerico. A brand new poll just came out, and it's good news for... Well, I'll tell you who it's good news for in just a moment. But first, I was on a meeting today with Randy Martin, my friend, a Zoom meeting we did, and we went over taxes, and it is incredible. He is a smart, really thorough, and amazing CPA. His team is amazing. Ray and George and his whole team and some other folks there have worked there for 10 years. I've been with Randy, a partner of his, for 10 years, and he's been my CPA for over 10 years. And, I mean, here we are all together like literally 10 years ago. Check it out, y'all. I want you to go, if you have for example, if you have a death in the family and there's some tax problems, or if you have a business, you're a small business owner, or if you just have tax problems in general, go to irsprob.com and they can help you. If you want tax planning, they do tax planning. Maybe everything's fine, but you want a good tax planner. He's incredible, especially tax planning with retirement stuff. He's amazing. All of it. Go to irsprob.com. That's irsprob.com. Or call 214-214-3000, 214-214-3000, helping good people with IRS problems. All right, also, Jim Dutton has been just a wonderful, amazing friend. I am so grateful for Jim Dutton, the host of Texas Home Improvement on TV and radio in Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, and Austin. I partnered with him on his show with sponsors years ago here in Dallas, Fort Worth radio, and we became friends. My wife ended up, my wife worked for Jim and his wife Mary at Due West Foundation and Plumbing for 3 years, and nobody has touched this house for foundation and plumbing except for Due West Foundation and Plumbing. That's Jim's company. Here they are a couple weeks ago, sneaking out my line. I had a clog. They took care of that. Here they are also on the same visit, replacing my T and P valve, which is on the water heater. They put that water heater in 9-10 years ago. So the T and P valve is that little thing on the top that's for temperature and pressure, and they go bad after a while. So they replaced that as well. They also have done, I'll just go through a real quick list of what they've done in my house. They did replace 17 feet of pipe under my slab foundation. That requires foundation work. They did that too. They did root shields. All the roots underneath my house cut a long time ago. That's why my foundation is solid for 11 and a half years now. And my plumbing, I have not had to replace but 17 feet of line under this house, and it will all be replaced any day or any month or any year now. All my neighbors had their plumbing replaced 5-10 years ago. I saw it one by one because they didn't do what Jim taught me. They do concrete leveling, retention walls, grading. They graded my yard, and all the plumbing, all the foundation. Don't ever use a separate foundation and plumbing, people. They'll blame each other, and believe me, they will go to the hilt on that. You want one, and it's right here. Here's your plumber and foundation, folks. du-west.com. That's du-west.com. If you want the best, call Due West. 972-406-0912 is their number, 972-406-0912, and tell them Chris Crock sent you to Due West and irsprob.com. Okay? Now, James Telerico. In just a moment, you have to hear the story of a TPUSA president in the Indianapolis area. It's just like the case that happened here with Marco Hunter Lopez at Wiley East High School and the radical Islamic, the Islamization of their school with Islamic proselytizers being allowed in, and TPUSA being attacked, him being attacked. The same thing, kind of a thing. It's vile. You're not going to believe this happened just the other day in Indianapolis. That's getting national, massive attention. Fox News et al. And it's just like what happened here, as far as adults going after a kid who's at TPUSA and attacking them. Okay? But first, James Telerico, breaking news. This is just the beginning. I mean, it's going to be way worse for Telerico as time goes on. I told you that Telerico is going to lose by way worse than Beto Hussein O'Rourke, the cultural appropriator fake Mexican, lost. I told you that Telerico will lose by 7 to 12 points. And I'm going to tell you right now, Colin Allred lost to Ted Cruz by 9 points last time around. Telerico is going to lose by worse. Telerico has pissed off the black community because he took out Jazzy. Telerico can't relate to black people no matter how much he tries, no matter how some people that just are like, please get me something so I can like you, that are leftist Democrats who are black. But he has to get Gromer Jeffers, the political coverage guy for the Dallas Morning News for years, said that he's going to have to get Hussein Obama level numbers for black voters to turn out. He will not get anywhere near that. Colin Allred couldn't get enough. This guy ain't going to get squat. Brand new poll. This is just the beginning of them. Look at this. This is a new poll. Ken Paxton's odds of winning, and you can see this on my X feed at Chris Crock Show. That's at Chris Crock Show, CHRISKR, okay? And by the way, you should watch this podcast on Rumble and YouTube. That way you can comment in real time. I'll see your comments, and I'll respond. I promise you. Brand new poll in, and this is, it's not a poll. This is Kalshi betting. Okay. Paxton up 6, 53 to 47 over Telerico. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. Why? Well, people can't relate to him. In fact, he's the opposite. Look at what he said about, and this is actually really, really, and I'm not mad because that's what the left thinks. People like myself, evangelical Christians, get mad and freak out and say, get all, no. But this guy's an abomination. Listen to what he said about this. This is the ultimate abomination of Christianity, to say that there are many ways to heaven. And here's what James Telerico said.
Christians and Muslims and Jews all worship the same God. Muslims love Jesus. They love Moses and Abraham. We are all branches on the same tree.
That is absolutely false. Absolutely false. We do not worship the same God. The God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, is the God of the Jews, is the God of the Christians, but is not the God of Muhammad and Allah. In fact, and what was the other one he said? Let's see. Hold on.
They love Moses. Christians and Muslims and Jews all worship the same God.
Okay. Jews and Christians worship the same God, which is a beautiful. I really do, and I have for years developed a very deep love of my Jewish friends. While they don't know Jesus the way I know Jesus and accept him as their Lord and Savior like I do, they know and love our God. We worship the same God, and that bonds me to them tremendously. And I think it's awesome. I love it. But we do not worship the same God as Muslims. Allah is not God. And he is literally this so-called this Christian pastor. He's not a Christian pastor, not an authentic Christian pastor. James Telerico is literally denying what Jesus said. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. There is only one way to heaven. It is not through Allah. It is not through Muhammad. It is not through the Muslim faith. Jesus said it himself. I am the way, the truth. Muslims do not believe that Jesus is the Son of God. Muslims do not believe that Jesus Christ is their Savior. Muslims do not receive Christ and the free gift of sacrifice from Jesus Christ, giving his life down. And Dr. Jeffers, my pastor and one of my sponsors, First Baptist Dallas, says it best. If you are in a house fire, okay, and there's only one way to get out of that house fire alive, is it hateful to tell the person in the house fire go that way. No, it is not hateful to tell them the truth, what Jesus said. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. That is love, telling them that. This guy is leading people to hell. And it's that simple. And again, I'm not mad, but that's the truth. It's the truth. And this is the funny thing from the Washington Post. Some conservatives are planning to vote Democrat for Telerico. Okay, like those three hens that James Telerico said, oh, I'm three mom, we're three ladies, we're Republicans, but we're voting James Telerico. 2 out of 3 of them were Democrat voters. And one had switched to Republican just like, whatever. But most of them were, 2 out of 3 were Democrat voters. It's all a lie. That's okay. You keep blowing smoke up our butt. We know the truth. It's all good. Let's see what else I have for you. Okay, you have to see this. This is, I'll give you the quick setup. There's a Turning Point USA chapter in Westfield, Indiana, which is in Metro Indianapolis, where I'm filling in this week. And she was at a Rock the Block Back to School festival for the whole school district, Westfield. She was she's the Turning Point USA chapter president and at her high school, and her treasurer was there, and they were passing out American flag themed bracelets. There was no message on them. There was no name of Charlie Kirk. No, it was just red, white, and blue flag. And an 7 or 8-year-old boy comes up and wants one of these, according to this young lady, the Turning Point USA chapter head. And the mom jerks the kid away from the bracelet, and then the young TPUSA chapter head, who you'll see in a moment, says, oh, I'm so sorry. And then the lady bites back and swears at her and says vile things to her. And then one of her colleagues, like the TPUSA treasurer from her high school, says, actually, we're not sorry. The lady unloads, says vile, profane things. She is some kind of a so-called leftist influencer. And she's featured on the pages of Indie Life magazine as an influencer. She then goes and attacks online this young lady, this beautiful young woman, who's the head of the Turning Point USA chapter, 17-year-old girl. She attacks her in a horrible way. And then Libs of TikTok gets a hold of it and gets it all out there. Then they dox her, showing that she works at Liberty Mutual, allegedly. And then all of a sudden, she takes all of her feeds on social media and, makes them private, and then removes her so-called alleged job at Liberty Mutual, and all heck breaks loose. And it is a massive case. Let me play for you a little bit of the young lady at Turning Point USA, Westfield High School.
My name is Sophia Hunt, and I'm Turning Point USA's Club America chapter president at Westfield High School in Westfield, Indiana. At our local Rock the Block event last week, it's a back to school event, I was working with my Turning Point chapter, my secretary and treasurer, and we were talking to families about what Turning Point was, what it does within our school, and what we stand for, and handing out the cutest red, white, and blue bracelets. A little boy came up to our booth, and he tried to grab a bracelet, and I saw Mom come and drag him away. I then looked at her and I said, hey, are you okay? She then immediately responded, why the F are you asking me if I'm okay? I was flabbergasted. I then said, your son wanted a bracelet, here's a bracelet. And she slapped it out of my hand and started cursing at us, screaming at us, and calling people we support racist, homophobic, and disgusting, saying, quote unquote, you guys are supporting a piece of shh. And I said, I hope you have a better day. She then stormed off and was still yelling at us in front of parents and children, probably between the ages of 6 and 10. And the crazy part is that she admits it in her own video that she flipped out and that she was seeing red.
Like, I don't know why, I forget what she said exactly, because at that point I was seeing red and everything was out the fucking window at that point. And I turned around and I said, I don't like that you guys are supporting that piece of shit human, talking about Charlie Kirk.
And those were her words, not mine. And I can tell you this, I wasn't seeing red. I knew exactly what was happening and when it was happening. Then she took it online. She started posting videos calling me racist, homophobic, transphobic, and all these other crazy names. And she hopes this follows me into college and my future employment, and attacked my parents, and even said, yes, I am gonna attack a child, and I am going after a child.
Yes, I am going after a child who is the president of Turning Point and likes to post racist, homophobic, transphobic things on the internet.
She also accused me of taking photos of pictures of children in bathrooms, which is completely false.
She also called her, instead of her name Sophie Hunt, she called her Sophie C-word in a message, according to her, to Sophie. I mean, I'm going to play the whole video, but this is you know how they say, you a grown-ass man. This is a grown-ass woman. And she is disgustingly, publicly attacking on social media this girl. She's direct messaging her, calling her the C-word. These people this lady is absolutely mentally unstable, and she should be banned from the campus at large, because any one of our kids, for example, if you're living in Westfield, Indiana, any one of our kids could be there with a TPUSA hat, a Charlie Kirk shirt, or a Trump hat, or what, I don't know, whatever, anything that remotely looks like they're a Trump or TPUSA supporter, and this woman could go off and start swearing, cussing, and doxing your child, or attacking your child. This is a very unhinged, crazy lady, and it's just unbelievable to see this happen. And it reminds me of our friend Marco Hunter Lopez, the young man who exposed the four professional adult proselytizers, Muslim proselytizers, passing out Quran hijabs and Sharia pamphlets, and also how Wiley East and the Wiley ISD thwarted his effort for 2 or 3 years to start a TPUSA chapter at Wiley East. And so they were stopping that because he's conservative, because of TPUSA. And then eventually a couple years later, he exposes these Muslim proselytizers, and all they do is attack him, and make him look bad. And he rose up, and he testified in front of Congress. He was on Fox News with Will King. He was on Glenn Beck. And then we did that great Bibles Not Korans rally, and then the principal resigned. And so this young lady, I want to encourage her so much. She's a future senator, a future leader in this great country. Let's go to this lunatic lady for the full 30-second post, at least 30 seconds of a post she put up, attacking the sweetheart, Sophie Hunt.
Yes, I am going after a child who is the president of Turning Point and likes to post racist, homophobic, transphobic things on the internet. Oh my God. She is old enough to take such a strong political stance, then she is old enough to take some of the heat. She's a bully, and she can't handle when she's getting a taste of her own medicine.
Well, now she's in big trouble. Liberty Mutual is aware of her, and lots of people wrote them, and I don't know. I'm assuming eventually we'll find out that she's no longer employed there. She's unstable. She's unhinged. She's got real problems. This is her religion. This is the problem with many on the left. It's their religion. They don't have God. They have a God-sized hole in their heart, and they fill it with religion. I'm sorry, they fill it with leftism, and their cause. It is their existence. This sick woman also called her, Sophie C-word instead of Hunt in the direct message, according to Sophie, and screen grabbing things. And she said, I'm a better Christian than you, and you're not a real Christian. I mean, I'm just real sick. Coming up next, you have to hear this. A gangsta rapper who's been busted reportedly for like the third time for weed and other things and driving around and stuff, who's apparently pretty darn successful, or maybe even bigger than that. A gangster rap type guy, country rap type guy, whatever, from Dallas-Fort Worth, is arrested once again with like weed, I think a firearm and other stuff, and in Allen, being a Dallas-Fort Worth rapper guy. And Governor Greg Abbott releases his annual playlist, and this guy's song, one of his songs, is on there, and you have to hear the lyrics. So then it makes me go, is this guy going to get a pardon from Abbott, since Abbott supposedly likes his song, now that he got busted for like a third time? That's coming up in just a moment. But first, my house has been totally changed for, like, it's literally the dream that my wife and I had for what our house should look like. And it's all because we call it Blue Ribbon Roofing. Let me show you some of the things. I love that one of my listeners and followers, Cammie, loved these copper gutters. This is something that nobody knows about, but because John Hopkins, the president and CEO of Blue Ribbon Roofing, knows what he's doing, he says, check out this picture, Chris, because he knew I was putting black accents into my house, which you see there. And then he says, check out copper gutters. If you like them, get them, because he's like, I guarantee you, no one will have them in your neighborhood. And not only do they do that, from all the storm damage to my house, but they made these shutters all over my house from scratch with cedar wood and stained. They installed and stained this awesome, gorgeous front door we have. So we have a completely different house. And then, of course, my old roof has been replaced by this gorgeous new roof. black for the accent on the house to look, cool and different. And then these are class 4 shingles. This is what class 4 shingles look like. Class 4 shingles I get because of the highest level of protection you can get, and class 4 shingles got me a $613 per year discount on my roof. Second of all, with the new roof discount, I now am saving $2,200 a year. My policy went from $5,000 a month to $5,000 a month, $5,500 a year to $3,300 a year. So literally, like for 3 months in a row now, I have zero on my insurance bill. This is the team at Blue Ribbon DFW. John Hopkins and Tish on the right. John's the founder. There's his wife Tish on the left. Is Trevor and his wife Jenna. They all work there. I've worked with all of them. They're incredible. I'm telling you, go to blueribbondfw.com, blueribbondfw.com. They're the absolute best. They are the best. They're the Porsche of roofers and everything construction. I love John. I do. He's an awesome guy. And it's a great company. That's them winning Best of McKinney year after year. So go to blueribbondfw.com, blueribbondfw.com, and tell them Chris Crock sent you. I want to show you the face of sex trafficking in DFW. This is a beautiful young lady, Samara Abigail Griffith. And she is currently missing child and is believed to be sex trafficked. And she, I believe, is from Collin County. This is serious. This happens all over Dallas-Fort Worth and all over the country. When women get sex trafficked, often starts when they're a girl by their own parents. They find a boyfriend, and the boyfriend ends up sex trafficking them too. At some point, by God's grace, they escape. They get out. They live in a safe house. They have no advocate. And oftentimes, the only advocate they have, besides their case manager, are people like the counselors at Thrive Counseling Services. I worked at Thrive Counseling Services. It is a Christian ministry that provides licensed professional counseling to sex trafficking victims. The overwhelming majority of their customers don't have a dime to pay for it, and it's free because it's a ministry. And North Texas Giving Day is upon us. And you can donate right now and make massive change in these young ladies' lives. Here's the founder and president, my old boss, Stacy Silvas, a licensed professional counselor and the head of Thrive Counseling Services in Dallas-Fort Worth.
It is such an immense joy to see when those families begin to come back together. It feels to me like we are taking back ground that the enemy stole from people and putting back in their lives what God intended to be there.
That is the most touching thing to me that gives me goosebumps every time. Taking back ground the enemy stole, because that's what the enemy seeks to do. Prowling around like a roaring lion, seeking to devour people in his path. Well, these young ladies, as I said, often have no advocates other than the counselors. Thrive Counseling gives them the courage to ask a judge to get a second chance, to get kids custody of their children back, to get a first job. And they work with partners these are safe houses. Safe houses. Refuge City, Alive at Last, the Poema Foundation, Exodus Ministry. They come in mad at the world. They think it's their fault. Help them know that they are loved and introduce them to the one who created them and loves them the most, and help them to heal. I want you to be able to donate right now. And don't wait. I donate. I'm on auto donate. Every month it takes from my card and bills me. For North Texas Giving Day, and sign up like I am, be a regular giver. Do it right now. Go to that address right there, tinyurl.com/thrive, NTGD. I'm going to give you a QR code in a second to scan. They've given more than 5,000 hours of faith-based professional licensed counseling that otherwise these young ladies could not afford or access. All right? So make a huge difference in the lives. This is their logo. Make a huge difference in the lives of these women, okay? And donate right now at that address. Or check it out. You can do this. You can do that QR code. Just scan it and donate right now. It doesn't matter if your monthly is 10 or 20 bucks. You know, whatever it is, donate right now and let women know they're loved, and help them to introduce them to the one who loves them more than anybody or anything else. And that, of course, is their creator, God. All right? There's nothing more sweet. It's heart-wrenching to think that you're abused and used perhaps when you're a child by your own mother, and you have no advocate. All right. Governor Greg Abbott, he releases this end-of-the-year summer playlist. He always does it every year, apparently. Raising eyebrows online, says Dallas News. Why? Because one of the songs... Wow, my alarm. One of the songs in a summer playlist is by a guy who's like, he's a rapper. I'm going to say this wrong. Big X the Plug, I guess. Big X the Plug. His song Texas allegedly is on Governor Greg Abbott's list. Well, let me just read some of the lyrics and let's see if you think. Do you think? And it's possible Governor Greg Abbott likes this. If former President Hussein Obama can like Jay-Z and all the lyrics and that, why couldn't Governor Greg Abbott like this? Here we go. Ready? This is great. I'm just randomly reading lyrics. B-word. I'm from Texas, where we still ride in swangas and put diamonds on our necklace, pour drink inside my lemonade till it looked like Pepsi. See, I come from the D, we got shags, we be flexing. If you ain't from my state, then you should know. Don't F with Texas. Don't F with Texas. It's full words on all these. We always strap, we keep our weapons. My mama from the H, Houston, I guess, she slowed it down for me at 7. Used to think Pimp C was a god before he went to heaven. I knew that pushing P was before Gunna even said, hold on. And never trust any N-word or B-word because it's expected. No killers from the country. They ride horses and throw sevens. Got N-words in the east side. Ride ATVs and Mac 11. Because, everybody around this B-word got guns. N-word. You think Governor Abbott's listening to this? I hope so, because it would show that he's not against, thugging out a little bit, I guess. It doesn't bother me at all. I think it's hysterical. Maybe it's true. I hope it is for his own sake, because that's funny. And by the way, he was just tagged and bagged. Rapper Big X the Plug was just tagged and bagged for apparently his 3rd time for something like DWI or whatever. He was booked August 21st in the county jail. He was tagged and bagged in Allen, Texas. He's been charged with DWI, marijuana possession, unlawful possession of a firearm. He was arrested twice last year for marijuana possession, including exactly 1 year ago. August 21st, it's his annual anniversary to get busted. Hey, Governor Greg Abbott, if you really do listen to him, you can pardon him. Now, he needs some help down here. That's great. That is so great. You have to see this. So sweet. North Richland Hills, and this poor little creature, and I mean this, a kinkajou. I might be saying it wrong, but a kinkajou. Look at this beautiful sweetheart. I feel so bad because I'm going to show you the picture of him. His legs were burned. This poor little sweetheart. Look at him. Look at that sweetheart. Those little paws were burned, and part of his body was burned. Somebody released him, or he escaped. That poor, beautiful little so ugly is beautiful. That sweetheart. And he was burned up, and it makes me so mad. But the good news is our heroes at North Richland Hills Police Department were called, and they rescued him. It's so sweet and cute. And they put him in a towel, and then they called some animal control folks that could take care of him, or some folks that do rescues for them. They got reports of a kangaroo or a monkey. Look at that little baby. So sweet. The experts determined it's a she, and she's going to be okay. They're going to nurse her back to health. They're from the rainforest in Central and South America. That poor sweetheart. They're often called honey bear due to its golden fur and love for sweets. Oh, God bless that little sweetheart. Oh, it makes my heart melt that he was burning. I mean that, man. That's one. And then how about the squirrels? They're screwed. It's hot in Texas, y'all. Look at him! Look at him! He's just laying flat. I love that. That's the funniest thing. Like, it's too hot. I can't do anything. I'm laying down here. Now I need some help down here. Oh my gosh! I didn't see that. Look at. I was like, where? I didn't know what was this all about. But look, see his freaking. Look at the guy, and see his head. The squirrel's head's poking out there with his arm and his tail sticking out on the side. That guy is sitting in the freaking pot. That's the most hysterical thing in the world. Oh my gosh! Hold on, I gotta jump back. Hold on. I want to make sure we get a little more play on this. He's just sitting there chilling. Oh, that's so funny. And then this is the best part right now because it is insanely hot, obviously, right now.
You know it's rough when you got to ride around with a box fan in your car. Oh, and it's working. No, ma'am.
That's wild shit.
Whoa! And it's actually on working.
Only in Texas, y'all. And I mean, the heat's been like insanely oppressive, as you know. In just a moment, illegals are trying to have the state, the U.S. Circuit Court, Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, reverse its decision to strike down illegals getting in-state tuition. Also, some news on Biden's gas stove ban regulations. But first, are you single? Now, it's not for me. I'm not single, obviously. I've been married, thank you, God, to the same beautiful woman for 26 years. What an amazing thing. We dated for like 3 or 4 years before that, at least, maybe more. I don't know. It's been so long. She is my bride, and she's been with me forever. But, you know, some people, I learned a long time ago, sometimes God's plan is for you to be single. There's nothing wrong with that. Or maybe you lost your husband. I know 2 widows, and personally, and we're friends with them. And, you know, it's important to have community and friends and biblical teachings. And there is a class, a weekly Bible study at that is such a massive hit and so amazing that its members, not the church, its members are paying me to tell you about it. That's how huge and awesome this place is. It is Prestonwood Singles Ministry for ages 30s plus. Resonate Singles Bible Study. Let me show you some pictures. Here they are doing roller skating. Here they are at Free Play, which is video games and dinner. And here they are with preaching. Pastor Brandon is just en fuego. Folks just love Pastor Brandon. You'll see from him you'll hear from him in just a sec. Here's another picture of all the people. Let's go back to, look at this guy. He's like Brad Pitt there, the guy in the lower left. Look at that guy. Look at those guns on that guy's arm. Huh? Wish I had those kinds of guns. They do lots of great stuff, though. Where's my camera? There we go. Put myself back on. Okay. They do, it's studying the Bible, volunteering together, doing events together. They go to car shows, roller skating, learn how to dance East Coast swing, powerful worship, biblical teaching, authentic community. It's every Wednesday at 6:30. I'm going to give you an address to see how you could go. So just go to Facebook and just Google that, Resonate Singles. It's right there. In fact, this is kind of what their logo is at the top of their Facebook page. So go to Facebook and type in Resonate Singles. Send your friends, your loved ones, anybody, or you, 30s plus single. It's an amazing and powerful class. Also, here is a QR code so that you can scan this so you can figure out, or you can see how to go to the Resonate Singles and get directions. Every Wednesday at 6:30, Prestonwood Christian Academy building in the Horn Room. You can just go to Prestonwood Church at 6:30 on Wednesdays and ask, where's your single study, ages 30s plus. It is that powerful that the people are paying me to tell you about it. How cool is that? Let's hear from a quick message from Pastor Brandon.
Check this out. Everybody has desires and almost no one knows what to do with them. We all want to be loved and to be known, and no one wants to feel alone. But what do you do with all of that desire? Here's what's fascinating. Thousands of years ago, the Bible actually gave us a book on exactly that. Attraction and dating and love and conflict and longing. It's called the Song of Solomon. You see, our culture has so much to say about this thing called desire. Turns out God does too. And so this September, we are opening one of the most misunderstood books in the entire Bible, and we're calling it Desire. Now, here's something you may not know. Every Wednesday night here at Prestonwood Church in Plano, hundreds of single adults are gathering at this thing called Resonate. Because in a region this big, it is surprisingly easy to feel invisible. But here, you don't just walk into a crowd, you walk out known. And our greatest hope is that you walk out knowing the one who's known you all along. So Desire begins September 2nd. We're saving you a seat.
I gotta tell you, I gotta tell you, that's beautiful. That young man is awesome. And that's why the members of the class want you to know about it. They're paying me to tell you about it. Advertising. Advocates ask appeals court to rehear bid to defend in-state tuition for illegals, reports the Dallas Morning News today. A panel of the typical panel of the U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, in this case the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in New Orleans, is typically 3. The 3-panel judge ruled 2-1, no, illegals cannot get in-state tuition, while out-of-state residents who are legal can't get it. It's a lot. It's completely BS. It was struck down. Now, Austin Community College, some pro-illegal group, and some guy who is a graduate of UNT who apparently maybe he's illegal. I don't know. They're suing. They want an en banc hearing. En banc means the entire panel of judges, all of them, not a 3-panel out of, I don't know if it's 12 or 8. They want an en banc hearing. They may not get it. They may get it. They're still going to lose. And then also, federal appeals court backs challenge to Biden's gas stove regulations. Federal appeal court has rejected Biden's energy's attempt to bypass public advance notice on instituting regulations on gas stoves. Let me tell you something. My friend who was over, who is teaching me to cook. I have some friends. Friends are so important. Friends are so important. And there's a friend of mine who goes by the name of Jorge Jalapeno. And Jorge Jalapeno is awesome. He's a lot of fun. He's a fan of mine. He was a fan of mine for years on the radio, but I'm a fan of his. But he loves to cook. And I've seen some stuff he does, and it's incredible. So I had him over, him and his wife, his Polish wife, like me, a good Polak. Jeźdź polskie jezinawa. Co się stało? Ja ich się domu spać. Jak się masz, kochanie? He cooked, and I watched, and I took notes. I was his sous chef. I have another friend who's from Peru. He and his wife from Peru. They've been here for 20-something years legally. Big Trump supporters. And he has taught me to cook, too. These guys just bless me with their friendship and teaching me. Because I love to cook, but I don't have the time. I don't make the time. And he was right. My friend the other day says, Jorge Jalapeno said, you need to make the time. I love to cook. And so he came over and cooked up fresh vegetables, flashed them in the pan and fried them up and stuff. And then we did chicken, what were they? Chicken kebabs, and they were so good. And so I cooked that night, or last night, getting stuff ready for this week, because it's going to be a busy week filling in for Indianapolis, doing the podcast and everything. And I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Thank you, God, for great friends and for what they can teach us, all of them. This show has been brought to you by IRSprob.com. That's IRSprob.com, helping good people with IRS problems, specializing in IRS controversy, IRS audits, and tax planning strategies. I'll see you tomorrow, and you can tune in tomorrow morning to WIBC in Indianapolis, live from wherever you are in the world. Just go to WIBC.com and listen live. It's 9 to noon Eastern tomorrow.